You opened your heart like a door with no locks, and they walked in wearing muddy boots. Now, that door is welded shut, not locked, shut. Because once you show them love, and they show you disregard, that chapter doesn't just end, it burns. And in the ashes, something cold is born. You, stronger, sharper, unforgiving. You don't mourn the ones who lost you. They mourn the power they'll never taste again. Once open, now forever closed. Their loss, not yours. They mistook your kindness for weakness, your patience for permission. They danced around your loyalty like it was disposable, like you were optional, like your soul was just a vending machine they could punch until it gave them what they wanted. But here's the joke. The machine's unplugged. Forever. You tried. You waited. You gave. You bled for people who wouldn't even blink if you disappeared. And now, they want a return ticket back into your life. Oh no. That train left, burned the tracks, and never looked back. You were open once, raw, honest, a living heartbeat disguised as a human. You showed them the best of you, your vulnerability, your affection, your undying support. And what did they do? They drained it, abused it. They took your light and tried to plant their darkness in its place. But you didn't crumble. Number you evolved. You didn't just close the door. You built walls so high they'd need wings to reach you. And even then, they'd fall. Because here's the thing about real transformation. It isn't loud. It's not some dramatic declaration. It's silent, ruthless, permanent. The people who once had all access passes to your energy now face a barricade with no entry, no exceptions, and no apologies. They thought you'd stay soft, thought you'd stay broken, thought your love made you weak. But real weakness, that's them, needing validation, needing attention, needing you now that you're gone. But it's too late. You're not the same person who begged them to care. You're not the one who sat up at 2 a.m. wondering what you did wrong. You're not the one who waited on their change like it was coming in the next delivery. You finally realized they were never on your level. They lost access to a universe. You lost a parasite. And yet they'll still lurk. Oh, they always do. Watching, regretting, wondering how they let the realest soul they ever knew slip through their fingers. They'll try to come back with empty words and counterfeit remorse. But this time, the lights are off, the welcome mat's gone, and the door doesn't exist anymore. You don't owe them closure. You are the closure. They'll tell people you changed, that you're cold, distant, not like you used to be. Damn right you're not. You're a storm now. A lesson wrapped in silence. And if they want to learn what happens when you betray someone who gave their all, they'll learn it the hard way. From the other side of the wall, let them feel your absence. Let them drown in the silence you used to fill. Let them taste the consequences of your permanent goodbye. Because guess what? You're not in the business of reopening wounds for people who gave you scars. You're not obligated to explain your evolution to the people who triggered it. You're not responsible for their regret, their guilt, or their sudden realization of your value. That's not healing, that's relapse, and you've come too far for that. Remember this, when you go cold on someone who once took your warmth for granted, that's not being bitter, it's being healed. It's self-respect. It's reclaiming your worth after they tried to discount it. Once you realize your peace is more valuable than their presence, their absence becomes a blessing. So they can gossip, they can twist the story, they can wear the victim mask like it's fashion. But deep down, they know, they remember, and it haunts them. Because no one else will ever match your soul. No one else will pour into them like you did. No one else will love them without conditions like you did. And now they'll feel that void, forever. They'll scroll through your life from the shadows, watching you glow in silence, watching you rise without them. watching the very person they called too much become the version of everything they can't have anymore. They'll wonder if they still cross your mind. Spoiler alert, they don't. Because you've upgraded your mindset, elevated your circle, rewired your boundaries, and you no longer entertain anyone who brings chaos to your calm. You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just done. You don't need revenge, you don't need closure. The absence of your energy is louder than any scream, any confrontation, any goodbye. Your silence, that's the scream. Your success, that's the vengeance. And your evolution, that's the legacy. So walk away, head high, heart armored, soul unbothered. Let them talk, let them twist it. Let them feel entitled to your forgiveness, like it's a subscription they forgot to pay for. Because you're not in the business of proving your worth to the blind. Not anymore. You don't go back to what broke you. You don't reopen doors to people who showed you they were nothing but a storm in disguise. You don't revisit places where your soul was suffocating just because someone misses your oxygen. You breathe freely now. You live for you. You guard your peace like a dragon guards gold. And anyone who wants access to your world better come correct. Because this time, there's no second chances, no explanations, no discounts. Once open, now forever closed. And trust me, it's their loss, not yours. Once open, now forever closed. Trust me, it's their loss, not yours. Because they didn't just lose a person. They lost an empire. They lost a mind that could have built with them. A soul that would have burned the world to keep them warm. They lost someone who didn't need them, but chose them. Over and over again, even when it hurt. But that's over now. You see, there comes a moment in a person's life where survival isn't enough. Where being understood is no longer the currency, but being respected is. And they disrespected the very essence of you. Your time, your trust, your tears. They spent them like pennies. And now they want to come back and pay you in apologies? Keep the change. You've upgraded your value. They can't afford access anymore. You're not just cold, you're calculated. Every silence now is strategic. Every boundary now is bulletproof. Every interaction now comes with a warning label. Not everyone gets the old version of me. Most of you get what you deserve. They'll say you changed. They'll say you turned your heart into stone. But what they'll never admit is that they were the sculptor. Because people never take responsibility for the masterpiece of destruction they created. They want your forgiveness without accountability. They want the sequel without surviving the consequences of the first chapter. But life doesn't work like that. You were once the lifeboat for people who were determined to sink you. Now, you're the tsunami that walks away without a sound, because you finally understand. Closure isn't a conversation, it's a decision. You don't need a final message, a goodbye text, or one last talk over coffee. The fact that you're still breathing, still rising, still refusing to fold, that's all the closure you need. Let them wonder why you disappeared. Let them invent stories. Let them sit in the wreckage of your absence, hoping the wind brings your voice back. But this time, the silence is permanent. Because once a heart learns how to armor itself with reality, there's no going back to fantasy. You're no longer the person who waits, who begs, who hopes. You're the one who walks, unshaken, unapologetic, unreachable. And here's the twisted beauty of it all. They thought you were fragile, but you weren't made of glass. You were made of mirrors. And all they ever did was shatter themselves on your reflection. Now they stare into the void you left behind, confused why the room feels colder, why no one cares like you did, why everyone else just wants what they can take, and not what they can build. But that's the world they chose. That's the reality they created when they mistook your value for vanity. You were a light in a room of shadows. When they couldn't handle the brightness, they tried to dim you. But now, you're the darkness itself. Not evil, not bitter, just unreadable, unreachable, untouchable. You became everything they can't define, everything they can't replace, everything they can't forgive themselves for losing. And still, you don't hate them. You don't even wish them pain. You simply wish them distance, permanence, and the long, slow realization that they'll never again feel the warmth of your loyalty. Let that sting, let it haunt. Because once you gave your soul and they spit in your spirit, it wasn't just betrayal, it was your awakening. And now, you're not just healed, you're evolved. You're not seeking revenge. You've become the lesson. You don't chase, you don't wait, you don't entertain ghosts wearing old faces. You build, you rise, you rewrite your story in ink so dark, even your past can't find a way back in. So when they knock, let them hear nothing. Not a word, not a whisper. Just the echo of their own regret, bouncing off the door they helped seal shut. You were once open, now you're forever closed. And it's still their loss, not yours.